when I was 8 years old, my dad sat us down in the living room and he told us that God was calling him into the full-time ministry. He looked at us and he said, I can't do this on my own. I'm going to need your help. And I remember thinking, as an 8-year-old boy, my dad needs my help with something that is bigger than him, that has an eternal value. That moment set a trajectory in my life of how I would view ministry for years to come. 27 years into my dad's ministry, my mom was diagnosed with cancer. And it was a pretty rough 2-year battle. Before she passed away, we sat down and I asked her one question. I said, what's the most important thing in life? She said, get people to Jesus. None of the other things that separate us as churches, none of the things that cause us to disagree with each other, none of those are important. She said, the most important thing is to get people to Jesus. And that began to stir in my heart and my life, and it's probably the very reason for the passion and the drive that I have to give my life to ministry. And I got to thinking about church and what it means and what it's doing in our culture, and I got to studying, and I read a study where 3,000 to 4,000 churches close every year, but only 1,000 new churches start. We live in one of the greatest church deficits of our country. And it's hard to believe when we stop to think about all the churches on every corner that are doing good work, that are bringing people to Jesus, that are changing lives, and people are renewing their faith and they're growing. And the reality is that 80% of our community still doesn't go to church. God started stirring my heart and says, what are you going to do about that 80%? How are you going to impact that 80%? This fire began to burn inside of my heart and my soul, and a mission began to be born inside of me to lead people into a maturing relationship with Jesus and spiritual community with each other. And I know that sometimes following Jesus is difficult, and following Jesus can take a lot of effort and a lot of determination, and it clicked that following Jesus takes grit. And we're going to start a church called Grit.Church. And we're going to be the kind of church that puts Jesus at the very center, focal point of everything that we do. That Jesus is our most important message. And that from that, our most important thing that we're going to do is to love each other. As Jesus said that the most important thing is to love God and to love each other. And he said no matter what, all the other things that were written in the law, all of those hang on these two commandments, that you love God and you love each other. And that's what we're going to strive to do. We're not going to be perfect. We're just going to be real. We're just going to gather a bunch of other people that are just real people, that want to grow in their faith, that want to put Jesus at the center of their life, that want to make a huge difference and an impact in the community around them. And that's the invite we're going to give to people. We're going to create an invite culture. Because the majority of people that don't go to church, that 80%, the majority of those people have never even been invited to church. We're going to try to impact that 80% by inviting them to church. And we'd love for everybody else to come on board, be a part of that invite culture, be real, and join us in leading people into a maturing relationship with Jesus and spiritual community with each other.